Today's session is very critical because we are going to really learn about, we did some amount of work in the area of correlation yesterday, but we are going to do more in detail about two statistical tools which we'll be using for our predictive analytics. Okay, right. So anybody who can recall what did we do in our last session?
So we started off from discussing
Ah.
on the previous about the previous sessions, and then
Yes.
we discussed about
Yes, yes.
different HR
Mm,
metrics that is
mm,
used for different HR
mm,
processes. Then we also
mm,
spoke and had a good discussion about the HR capability metrics and HR capability index. And then
mhm.
we moved and did a small exercise on correlation aspect.
Okay. Good. That was a little nice summary. All right. Yeah. Just to, as I said, we'll be doing a lot of work in the area of regression and correlation. Just before I talk about correlation and regression, let me cover two metrics which I had yet to cover. We looked at the common metrics which are being used for learning and development with reference to what? What are some of the common metrics which we can use for our learning and development or for our training and development, more from the uh, descriptive analytics or more from the operational analytics? Anybody? Yeah. One could look at what? Cost, L&D cost for a full-time employee, right? Huh? And how do you do that? Total cost for the L&D divided by the number of FTA in that particular period. Okay. We could also look at training hours for a full-time employee, which can be computed by total training hours again divided by the number of full-time employees. We could also look at training cost per employee. That means total cost divided by the number of people. Okay. And satisfaction, training content satisfaction, which again, you could do it per program, or you could also collect all the per program satisfaction score, and then again get a on the whole for the entire uh, satisfaction score for the entire training content. We could also look at satisfaction index in terms of how satisfied they are with the various training programs. So these are typically certain measures which we use for measuring our L&D department. Okay. Now tell me, we did, so this is from the operational aspect. So from the, can we use any of these metrics, or what do you think are some of the metrics in the L&D or the training development function which we can use for correlation? Just wanting to know for a higher level of metrics. Any? Can we? I would like to just, yeah. What are some of the things we can capture from the point of correlation? That is
Increase in the performance, ma'am.
absolutely. So one can look at performance scores. Okay. Now, these performance scores can be correlated with what? Performance score is an outcome.
Yeah.
With annual rating, annual performance
It's
rating.
an outcome. So
Yes.
it's a lag indicator.
Yes.
Huh? It
Yes.
could be so you could think of quarter on quarter performance scores. Like for example, in a call center, they do month on month performance scores. So you could do an annual score. But at the end of it, I'm talking about, as Sushma also said, performance. Okay. Now this performance is an outcome. It's a lag indicator. Now you could look at the scores. Tell me some of the variables which you can look at which will impact performance scores. We are doing training. Can we look at that? Yes or no?
Training hours. Yeah.
Huh? You can look at training program, training hours. Is there a correlation between number of training hours? Huh? with the performance scores. Can we do that? Huh? Can we look at that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. So this is training. Now we can also look at if an employee is absent, leave, huh? So we can also look at leaves. Do they have any correlation with the performance? Do they impact performance? Sorry. We can also look at that, right? Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what else?
Culture of the team, or like how good is the manager, or the culture of the team, what sort of a team it is.
Yeah. So maybe if you are able to quantify some, like say, satisfaction. Can I say ESAT score?
Yeah, yeah.
All action. So, yes. So, what you're saying is, other than capturing operation analytics, I could also look at certain process metrics from where I will get data, some action items, which can impact the performance, which in turn will impact the business outcome in increasing the revenues. You think this, there is a connect between what we do to the outcome of the outcome of HR and to the business outcome. Yeah. So we will be doing some of the correlation. We have a lot of data today and we will be doing that. Anybody in the compensation area here? Anybody? What are some of the measures to measure the compensation? Can we do this? Compensation revenue? That is total cost of compensation divided by the total revenue. That is also an indicator as to what is the total cost. Or can we also look at what? ECR ratio. You know what is an ECR ratio, guys? Employee cost to revenue. Employee cost to revenue. How do you measure that? You can actually take total revenue divided by the total wage cost. Okay. Will give you what? Also the ECR ratio. Compensation expense is very easy. Total cost again divided by operation cost. Compar ratio. This is somewhere here I want to give you a little bit of an understanding. Anybody who's heard of compar ratio?
Benchmarking.
It is a part
Yeah,
of how
but
much percentage is it?
compar ratio.
Yeah.
But yes, as an
Market
individual,
median.
as an employee, you need to understand what is a compar ratio. Very simple measure. What is the measure like? So it's a ratio of your base salary, base, all right? Huh?
Yeah.
Base divided by the midpoint of the salary range. Say, for example, then multiplied by 100. So I'll just give you an example. Okay, I'll just draw it here itself. Okay, say, for example, this is a salary range. Okay, so this is my min, and the min is say 8,000. Just hypothetical, 8,000. And the max is what? The maximum of that salary range is 12,000. Okay. So what will be the midpoint? Any idea? Midpoint will be how much?
10,000.
Yeah, I'll put it here. So, actually, okay. So it is 10,000. Right. Now, say for example, Devendra's base salary is 8,000. Okay. So how will you calculate the compa ratio? 8,000
Divided by 10,000.
divided by the formula. How much is it? Is equal to how much? 0.8
8.
or it can be
80%.
80%. 80%. Okay. So if you are at 12,000, that means it is 120%. Now, this is how to calculate your compa ratio. But what does it tell you? That means where are you vis-a-vis the midpoint? Now, when we actually typically do a compensation, structuring, etc., when you are doing a recruitment, typically you will say, hey, there'll be a recruitment policy saying that I will be hiring people between 80% to maybe 90% compa ratio. That means most of my position, I'll be hiring at a minimum or my promotion policy will be that I will be promoting people only at 110 or 120% compa ratio. Okay, when you have such kind of a policies, how do you think they are going to impact or what is the purpose of this? Any clue?
Ma'am,
Most of you are
they help in controlling the wage bill in terms of,
absolutely. Essentially, you are controlling the wage cost by ensuring that I'm not taking a person almost at the max salary. Because what does it mean? At any salary grade, if I'm taking the person at a max, it means I'm already giving him, the a salary which is very high. Now, after he reaches the max, now what do I do? That is, I cannot extend the salary grade. So I need to then
move him up.
stop giving him increment and only give him a performance bonus. So I may be taking a very highly, high performing employee. He's very good. And the hiring manager says, hey, he's damn good. Give him any amount of salary. So I'll say, okay, fine. I'm going to give him a max of that salary. But after 1 year or 2 year, when he's reaching the maximum, now what do? I can't give him an extra increment. So now this person gets demotivated because he does not get an increment. So it's very, very important to have compa ratios in place in terms of recruitment, in terms of promotion, etc. Because as Shushma, somebody was saying, it controls your wage cost, and also to ensure that you don't have salary compressions. And what I mean by salary compressions is that you might be paying high for a person who is doing a similar job and who is get in the organization and who is getting a lesser salary. You with me? That means it goes against the fairness and equity principle. Okay, guys? All right. So all of you who are interested.
Ma'am, I have a question here. What is the desired compa ratio? I mean, to see that, the wage cost, or maybe to say that the performance pay is equivalent to the performance brought onto the table. What is the desired compa ratio?
So typically when you say desired, definitely in any organization, when you are hiring, you are not giving him more than the min or closer to the midpoint. Why? If a person has experience and if you feel he has the right qualifications, experience, etc., in any cost, the desirable is that you cannot go beyond 100%, 100% comp ratio. Okay, but a person with the right skill sets, competencies, etc., but not much of an experience, you will prefer to start him at a minimum of that grade, which is now here it is okay. It could be a 90%, could be 80%, etc.
Okay.
But definitely not beyond the midpoint, because anything beyond the midpoint, that means it has a higher wage cost. So this midpoint is your controlling point for your wage cost. Okay, even when you are designing salary structures, your midpoint of the median, that is the 50th percentile of the market, becomes your controlling point. So you are always trying to say, hey, where am I? Am I paying at least, about the 50th percentile of the market or not?
Hmm.
Okay, got it? Okay, yeah, let's move on. If you guys want more information, you can always uh, do up, read up, send me queries, and if you want, I can send you more information on this. All right. Market percentile. I think I explained very clearly what is the market percentile. Say, for example, uh, Mahendra Kumar, I am working as an HR manager. Now, what is my salary percentile vis-a-vis the market? So my percentile could be about 50th percentile or a 60th percentile of what market is paying. So percentile means what? When you're looking at a market, so if there are 10 companies or if there are 15 companies, so what happens? You're doing a benchmarking exercise, calculating the percentile and saying if it is the 50th percentile, that means what? 50 companies are paying more than what you're paying, and 50 companies are paying less than what you're getting. Okay, guys? Any clarifications here? Quick? Any, or just give me a thumbs up. Any clarifications or is understood? Okay, we move on to labor cost of a full-time employee, total wage cost divided by the total number of people. And sometimes you also want to capture the satisfaction index of a compensation through maybe survey, etc. Right? Okay. All right, clear all drawings. Now that was it for a. So we would be using some of all these metrics and measures. So therefore, I hope there was some clarity with the reference to all this. Okay. So we talked about descriptive analytics, about operation. Now today we are going to talk about predictive analytics. What is all predictive analytics? That means, huh? We are taking predictive. What happened? Why did it happen? So we are finding out the analysis. We are getting great insights from the data. All right. So when we talk about predictive analytics, what are those tools which we can use for predictive analytics? Essentially, we are going to talk about, as I said, regression and correlation. Regression and correlation. So what are we going to do? We are actually going to identify the data which leads into the outcomes, see if there are any patterns, validate those patterns, and then predict. And then when we see that there is a pattern and consistently with the trend lines, etc., then we can also do prescription. Then we can also do prescription. Let us understand how we can do that. Say, for example, simple, like I want you all to be a little interactive. Some of you are listening. Say the outcome, like, is it going to rain? Hmm? So what are some of the inputs you will look at? Anybody?
Whether it is cloudy.
Yeah, it's cloudy, or there are thunder, or the weather forecast, right? So these are some of the data you will look at and then predict, saying that yes, it's going to rain. Okay. So why is it important that we use data and we use what is it? Analytics to support our decision over the gut feeling, because it is supported by validated data as opposed to just gut feeling or intuition. Yes, sometimes we say, hey, our intuition is working, but definitely when you're going to take professional decisions in the organization, you cannot afford to go just by intuition or gut. So some of the use cases of predictive analytics, where all can you use? So it is used in most of the industries. It could be manufacturing, pharma, retail, etc., and also in various functions. Okay. Let us do a quick, small activity. I want you all to actually take your pen and paper For example, you want to predict, employee absenteeism, though I have actually, what are some of the things you will look at? What kind of a data will you look at? Avais, let me ask Avais. Avais, you're also looking after all HR operation and all that. Say, for example, you want to predict employee absenteeism, saying that, hey, in the month of June, probably there will be so much of absenteeism, or especially after annual increments in the month of, in India, it is from April to March. So after once we release all the increments, you can actually predict that 10% or 5% there will be, in fact, attrition. So now, say typically, even absenteeism you can predict, by taking historical data with years and also months. You can predict which months you'll have higher absenteeism, etc. So, what are some of the data points? For example, you can look at employee satisfaction levels. Okay, you can look at performance data. You can look at company events. You can look at workloads, employee feedback, communication data, travel data. So these are some of the data points which you can look at to predict employee absenteeism. Go too quickly to, say, for example, attrition. Can you give me certain data points where you can actually look into to predict employee attrition?
Maybe Nimila, the trend of the employee absenteeism. I mean, the data which we are having month on month.
Uh,
That how is it going during different events? Like take example of during the New Year time period when we are having different gazetted holidays, or during the time of Eid, or specific events when normally people try to take off, or they are planning for their vacations and all that.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But if you want to really go back and look at how you can predict to certain extent absenteeism, you have to look at department by department, right? And you have to
Yeah,
look at certain variables and see if there is any correlation. So you have to take some historical data. Either you can take data from, say, January to December. So how does my absenteeism look for this unit, and for at least 2 or 3 years, and see how is there a correlation, and then maybe you can then predict and also prescribe, hey, in these months, I will have some amount of, like, for example, the workloads also increase because of the sale, what is the production going up, etc. So you can actually see your workload factor also. So
let me
if you
give you
look
an
at your
example. One of the
pardon?
example I can quote. Let me give you one of the example that
Uh-huh.
as we are into manufacturing of food related products and the sales and distribution also. So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm considering one of the product which is ice cream, okay, we
Mm-hmm.
do have our igloo ice cream, this London
Mm-hmm.
Dairy and all that.
Right.
So we have a specific season for that ice cream selling. 6 months
Mm.
of we do have the season for the ice cream, and
Mm.
the remaining is basically this average, and then there is a time where it is not sold that much. Where do we have the leave period for the
Right.
kids?
So, I can broadly say seasonal and non-seasonal. So, like, for example, in summer it sells a lot. I mean, and maybe that's just, a hypothesis, but I can also look at the sales figure and validate and say it is during which months and which seasons that the sale is more. Yes,
Yeah,
one can do that. No? Okay.
yeah,
Then,
yeah.
yeah. Then, so what's the question? So what I'm actually trying to tell you is that if I'm able to predict absenteeism and say, for example, that during those I mean months, peak months where you have high sales, and then you want to have a buffer. So, and if you are able to predict that, hey, I will have, certainly 1% or 2% absenteeism, so you can always keep a cup. You can deal with it better when you know it is coming. Yes or no?
Yes,
Otherwise,
yes,
yeah,
yes, exactly,
है ना?
exactly.
So, I mean, you may not be accurate, but at least some amount of buffer you will keep, knowing that, hey,
Yeah.
in such times there are that definitely I am going to have some absenteeism. So, because you can't afford to have absenteeism during those days
The
when there
same
is a peak.
example, same example can be taken into consideration when we have just I'm saying every business is important, and when you know
Yes.
the season is there and your trend is showing with the data points that
Mm,
during this specific period the
mm,
absence is more. Okay,
mm,
so
mm,
there we
mm.
can basically at least to keep a second plan or a buffer of employees, or maybe ad hoc recruitment we can
Absolutely. But at least
make
keep,
ourselves.
but the sample data which you are looking at should be at least should be having what we call it, at least, keep it for 2, 3 years at least, so that you can draw patterns and see, so that you can then predict. You can't have
Yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay,
exactly.
huh? Very
It has
important.
to be
So
it has to be with
likewise,
logic also, na? Because ultimately it will have a cost.
absolutely. So likewise, you can also predict employee attrition by looking at what compensation benefit data, performance data, work environment, etc., company culture, recognition and rewards. In fact, if you see in most of the organizations, they'll have this R&R. They will have personal growth. Growth plans being communicated to employees. Then you have mentorship. So you can have your data points coming into this in order to validate and predict your employee attrition. It's like, early warnings. Early warning system is more for your high pots, but when you're wanting to predict employee attrition, it is across all levels and at all for all employees. But when we talk about EWS, it is mostly for your high performers. Yeah. Now, let me quickly come to where all can we use predictive analytics, because we need to do a lot of technical stuff today. So, you can use predictive analytics where, in terms of candidate sourcing and filtering, you can use predictive analytics for headhunting. You can use it for your communication. You can use it for your meeting analysis, employee monitoring. So the list goes on. So you can use predictive analytics in all these areas. And there are several established cases where organizations have used predictive analytics. Like, for example, in my first session, I was talking about the Best Buy company, which is into an um, retail store selling electrical goods, how they could actually establish a correlation between what is it, employee satisfaction and their operating income at every store. By an increase of 0.1% of ESI index, they could show increase of $100,000 per month, an increase of operating income. Okay. Now I talked about correlation. So what is the measure? Quickly, guys, what is the measure in correlation? What is the measure in correlation? We talked about it, so that I was just wanting to remember if you all remember anything. What is
Correlation
the measure?
coefficient.
Yeah. So it is -1 to +1. So what does the correlation do? It establishes a relationship between two sets of variables. What are variables? Any set of data points. It could be what? A performance score with employee satisfaction index, or it could be a age with a compensation, or with compensation and number of years of experience. So correlation definitely needs to have two sets of variables. What is the measure for correlation? The measure for correlation is what? R. R. And what is the measure? So it is from -1 to +1. When it is 0, does it have any correlation then? No correlation.
No.
So when it is between 0 to 0.5, it is moderate, positive. But when it is from 0.5 to +1 or -1, that means it's a strong positive correlation or a strong negative correlation. Now, you can see here how good the correlation is. Let us talk about. Tell me, I'll put the cursor here. Where's my cursor gone? Yeah. So R is equal to -1. So what does it mean? What does it measure? It's a
Negative
quick, huh?
Negative.
It's a negative
Negative.
correlation, right? A very strong negative correlation. You can see actually when when the data of one variable is going up, the data of the other variable is coming down, right? It's a strong, so it's minus. What do you think this is? It has -6. So it's a little moderate and above negative correlation. R is equal to 0. What does it mean? You can see also the trend line, which is
correlation.
horizontal. That means no
No correlation.
correlation. Now R is equal to +1. That means it's a
Positive.
positive, strong positive correlation where the data of one variable, while it goes up, even the other one is going up. So R is equal to plus 0.3, where it's moderate below,
Positive.
because it is below 0.5. I wouldn't say it's not much, but
correlation.
yes, still there is a some amount of a positive correlation. R is equal to 0, it is. Now, the important thing to actually, when you talk about these correlations, what does it show? It shows some kind of a what? Direction and strength. So when your R is higher between -1 to +1, that means it has strong, either negative or positive. And when it is from 0 to 0.3 or 5, it is very, very moderate. Okay, it's the same thing. So what about this? This, you can see my cursor, high positive correlation. This one, again, high negative. Then this one, perfect positive correlation because it is +1. Perfect -1, so it has negative correlation. And this is 0 correlation. So you are able to at least find out how the data direction, how it is moving. Okay. All right. Yeah. Now, when we do regression, anybody who's a little familiar with regression? Anybody? Anybody is familiar with regression? Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am. Studied during my MBAs
Okay.
and BBAs.
Okay, good, good. Okay. Now, what is regression? Obviously, it is a statistical technique that predicts what. So, when the level of one variable, it predicts what? That is the deeper. It has two variables. So, let me just directly take you to an example to explain, and then I will take you to the theory part because that becomes much, much easier. Okay. Okay, guys. Okay. Now, so we will talk about, we'll do both correlation and also regression. Can all of you see this Excel sheet of mine? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So I'm talking about when we are doing correlation, you know how to do correlation. What will I do? I want to see if there is a correlation between engagement activities in hours with performance rating. So what will I do? Quickly, just to, I'll do this formula.
Formulas, no?
Go to insert function.
Oral.
Then I will just go to Coral. Okay. And then I will say,
Okay.
okay. There's some problem with this. All right. Then I will drag my data. And then I will go to array 2. I will drag my data. right? And I will say, okay. So what is it showing?
Minus
Minus
0.01.
0.01. So what does it mean? Just write this.
-1.
Yeah, it is negative and also absolutely as good as no correlation at all. No? Because the measure is what? From -1
1
to,
plus 1.
huh? It has
Plus
to
1.
be then plus 1. So you can imagine it is minus 0.01, which is as good as no correlation. No correlation. Okay. So now that means when there is no correlation, then I cannot predict anything. So therefore, I cannot do regression. Are you getting me? I cannot do regression. That's very, very important. Now let us just look at another data and let me go back to, I'll show you another data. Okay. Now this is a data set. It has labels like what? Compensation, expenses, work-life balance, total 6 days, employee engagement, and performance score. So we will take two variables. We can take two variables like what? Employee engagement and performance score. Performance score is an outcome, so it can be a lead indicator, lag indicator, and employee engagement is a lead indicator. It's an action. So let us establish what? Correlation between performance score and yeah. Okay. So what will I do? Quick. Formula. Insert.
Coral.
Yeah. So Coral. Okay. And then let me just drag them here so that. All right. So what am I taking? Employee engagement.
Right.
Huh? Okay. H2 to H6. Now, all right. Okay. What is the correlation? It is? What is the correlation?
0.48.
0.48. So it is a positive correlation.
Positive.
Okay. Positive correlation. So when there is positive correlation, I will say, hey, that means there is some kind of a relationship between employee engagement
and performance.
has an impact on the performance. So can I do some prediction? So can I do, so when I want to predict, I will then use regression. Now, when I'm doing regression, I'm again going to use two variables, but one becomes what? Independent variable. Okay? Typically independent variable, and that is called as X. And I can also call it as IV. And the other one is the dependent variable. And I call it as DV, and that is Y. Very clear, guys? Okay? Now, what will I do again? Can I just delete this? Now, I will go to, so there are two ways of doing this, but first let me give you a very, you can go directly to, you want to do a regression. So go to what? Data. Okay. Okay. So there are two variables the independent variable and the dependent variable. All right. Then next, what do we do in regression? So the dependent variable is called DV and the independent variable is called the IV. Now, when I showed you the data in terms of performance and the engagement, so engagement will be what? What will be that variable? Hey guys, are you there?
Engagement.
Will be the independent variable
Independent.
or the dependent variable?
Ma'am, independent?
Yeah, because that impacts the performance.
Performance.
So therefore,
Dependent.
the performance is predicted by the independent
Dependent.
variable. Okay, so the dependent variable is called Y and the independent variable is called the X. I will again pull the data. So if you can see now, this data this is the compensation data. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the compensation data. Now, it has a list of positions. Can you see the list of positions? Yeah. Can you see the list of positions? Okay. Now it has also the point value. What is point value? That means that every job has been evaluated through a technique called job evaluation. Got it? It has been evaluated through a technique called job evaluation. And the points given to this job are so much, like 500 points for director HR, 470 points for director finance, 400 points for finance manager, so on and so forth. Okay. So these are all the point values. Now, typically what happens in a compensation, the salary of every job, step one is evaluated and then it is benchmarked with the market data and then you are predicting how much you should pay. I repeat again. What are you doing? Step one, you are evaluating the job and finding out what is the worth of the job by calculating the point values. Step two, then you are benchmarking that job with the market data and predicting the salary as to how much you should pay. For example, the point value of director HR, that is after job evaluation, the worth of the job in terms of points is 500. Got it? Now, if there is a job which is worth 220 points, which job is higher? Which job is higher?
The 500 one.
Maximum.
The fine. The 500 one. So the advantage of evaluating a job in terms of points is it is very objective, quantified. So higher the points, higher the job. Lower the points, lower the job. Is that clear? Yeah. Now you are actually looking at market data and getting what? Market data for these jobs after matching them. So for a director HR with the points of 500, what is the market salary or what is the market paying for this job per month?
4,000.
How much?
54,
How much?
167.
Yeah, 54167, which is actually what? 54,000?
Yeah.
167. So take another job, say for example, an accounts executive. The point value is 220 points and the market is paying for a similar job of an accounts executive. How much? 15,000. Now I can use regression, okay, to predict salary. And that is what most of the consultants like Mercer, Hewitt, Yuan, they do regression and predict the salaries. When they do, when as a consultant, they go to organizations and organizations ask them to do the salary benchmarking and then predict salaries. This is what they do. All right. Now let us do what? Regression. So first, the simplest way. To do regression, I have to calculate two values. What are they? Slope and intercept. Slope and intercept. And when I'm saying regression, I'm also looking at two sets of data. Now, what are these two sets of data? The point values, which are actually calculated through job evaluation, which is X, which is an independent variable. So higher the points, they will be higher the market salary also. Y is the market data. Y is the dependent variable. Okay. X is the independent variable and Y is the dependent variable. Now, to do regression, which is actually what, when I say regression, now I will also tell you, it's called R square. Now, to do regression, I have to calculate two values, slope and intercept. How will you calculate that? Again, go to formula, insert function, slope. Okay, right? Then what will I do? Just pull this down. Maybe I'll do this. Now, known wise, which data will I take? Got it? Drag the data. Now here you can't take any one. You have to take known wise, so in Y data. Known axis. Known axis. Now say, okay. So what is your value for slope? This is your slope value. Okay. Now calculate intercept. How will you go about intercept? Formula. Okay. Formula. Insert function. Then can you see intercept here? Okay. Just pull this up. Okay. Known wise. All right. Then known axis. Okay. Then say, okay. So what is this value? Intercept. Okay. And mostly I'll explain to you, I'll also diagrammatically tell you what is slope, what is intercept. But right now, just understand these two statistical terms, calculate slope and intercept. Now, what is the formula to get your salaries? You're predicting your salaries, which is called the what? Predicting salary. That means what is that you should have in your organization? So what is the formula? Y is equal to AX plus B. Now, slope is what? Is
Yes, A.
A. Huh? A. Intercept is B. Okay. Now, the formula Y is equal to AX plus B. What will you do? You can actually then hardwire it. Saying that what will you do? Now, A. A is how much?
128.
128.7. Can we make it as 129? Okay. What we'll do? We'll make it as 129.
9.
Okay. Then what is it? X. What is X? X is the point value. So what will you do? You have to multiply 129 with X. So I typically, what I say is, I hardwire it. Let me just do. You put, because 129 is constant. for all the positions. The slope and the intercept values are constant for all the positions. So 129 multiplied by, what is it? You will say x. So your x is this one. All right. Then close and then plus b. But plus b is what here? Minus. So minus intercept value. So can we round it off? 131 and 90. So we'll put 13190. Okay. So I'll say, oh, I should have put that there. Yeah. So I'm just repeating the task here. So what am I doing first? Equal to and then quickly, guys. A is what? 129. Then multiplied by 500. So it is the, okay, D4. Then close the bracket. Then minus 13190. Now can you drag it? You will get what? Got it? Now what are these? These are the salaries which you have to pay in your organization. In your organization. Okay. So what did you do? Through regression, you have used regression to predict your salaries. Now the interesting part is, okay. Now you can do various ways. What am I doing now? We have to look at it. So what you do, I'm just showing you first, then I will take you through the theory. What have I done? I've selected this data, right? Now go to insert. Okay. Then go to chart. Then say I want this. Okay. Just take it here. Okay, let me make it little. Okay. Now what will I do? I have to do a scattergram and draw a trend line. Add a trend line. And what trend line will you do? A linear. Can you see this format trend line? Linear. Okay. And you also have to display equation on chart and display R square. Okay. Okay. I will make it a little bigger. Now, can you see in this equation? What can you see in this equation? So when you do this, 128.79, y is equal to what? Ax minus this. So this is your what? Slope. Does it tally with this? Huh?
Yeah.
Huh? Now, does this tally with intercept?
Intercept, yes.
Right? Okay. So this is another way of doing slope and intercept. Can you see something called R square? R square. Now, what is this R square? Regression is represented by R square. It is also called coefficient of determination. Okay. Now, this also tells you the strength of your regression. Now, what is the R square saying? Point. What is it saying? Point Hey guys, can you see this?
90.97.
9.97. So what does it mean? It is, say, I can put it as 98%, right?
Is it?
The strength of the regression is 98%. So typically the strength of the regression is measured as 1, okay, or 100%. So 98% means what? The validation of your outcome, that is the market data, is 98% dependent on your point value. 2% could be on other variable. Higher the strength of this R square, that means your data is very good. So if you can actually see this line, which is also called a line of best fit, and the data points are closely, tightly sitting near the line. It is not dispersed. So therefore, higher the R square strength, which is closer to 1, which is 97%. So therefore, that means the dependency of the data outcome is 98% dependent on the independent variable, which is very good. But if your R score is showing like a 50% or a 55%, 0.55 or 0.65, that means what does it show? That there are other variables which are impacting the outcome. Are you with me, guys? Please. Huh?
Yeah.
Are you with me? You have understood? Now let me see. I think that data analytics has gone. Now I will just delete this. There is another method of doing it. I'll just show you. Fine. It's already there, I think. Okay. Don't say that. Okay. So I will just go through the theory so that you are able to again understand whatever I have actually spoken about. Okay.
Have you shared this example?
Now have you yeah,
Ma'am,
any class?
the
Yeah.
thing,
Huh?
I mean, the example that you just showed, should we practice it?
You will, but I will just show you a little bit. Yes, I have, you have some data to do work, and I'm going to actually, watch all, I'm going to help you all to work through your examples, but I just want to show little more theory so that you are able to understand. Okay. 1 second. So how is R square measured? Regression measured R square. It's called coefficient of determination, while correlation is measured from -1 to +1, and it is R. Okay. Now you have also seen a line of best fit in regression. Now, when we talk about that regression, I said that when the data is closer to that line, then the regression is very, very strong. So let me just show you that how it looks. That data, how, yeah. If your data is closer to this line of best fit, that means that your regression is really very, very good. And this line is called the line of best fit. Okay, guys. Now what I want to, hey guys, I want you to work on the same compensation data first. Okay. I want you to work on the compensation data, and I'm there to help you all. So if you see this multiple R, it is nothing but correlation coefficient. Does it tally with your correlation coefficient?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. This is correlation coefficient R. It's called R. R square is the regression one. Just a square, don't bother, but there is theory I will tell you. Okay. Now, if you look at then the other data, got it?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do the visual also, guys. And do for the other data which I showed you, because that group was doing that first, and then they're doing this now. So likewise, now you do the other one also. Which one? The one I was actually explaining. Okay.
The one you were actually explaining, the engagement one.
No. The same salary data. There is a sheet with you all. So you would be doing at least 2 salary sheets so that it helps you to understand. Not here, not here. You have to go to another totally. There's another attachment.
Another sheet given.
check on
Another
that.
sheet given.
Is this the
Regression.
director HR salaries and all? Director HR salary.
Which, yes, direct HR. But here you have to do this other one, scatter graph as well. Then you will get an understanding how you have gone through this.
Meghna, it's in a completely different sheet. It's called Point Plan Meritt CCBP. You have to download that.
Yes. Okay. But here you haven't completed your scatter graph.
This one I had done it, ma'am.
Done it?
Sushma had
Okay.
done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
I have
Fine.
done it.
Okay.
Okay. This is the data.
Oh, okay. Okay. Have you done the salaries also?
Yeah, she had done the salaries also, ma'am.
Where can I see the salaries? Where?
Yeah, just 1 second.
No, but okay. When you so I just want to show you. Okay, just scroll down. Scroll down. Now, just a little bit of more input for you. Now, this is called a line of best fit or the salary line or a pay line. Okay. Now you can see that if you select your point plan data, that is X, and also this salary data, it will give you a straight line. You want to do that? Because I want to explain one more point there. Select B data and also D data. And then insert. Scatter. Yeah. Can you see entire trend line? Draw a trend line. Just a trend line. Yes.
Yeah.
Linear. Okay. Now, just close this. I want to explain something. Now, if you can see what happens is typically, now there are only 5 positions or 10 positions, and I have already got a salary line. Now, when I say prediction, so there might be other jobs. Huh? Now, I don't have to get market data. I can only calculate points, total point value through job evaluation. And say, for example, if you can see this 100, 200, 300, these are all, this axis is your X axis, your job points axis. Now, I can have a job at 450 points. Right now, that job does not exist here. So typically, it is set at a 95% level. Got it? Now, yeah. Now, I want to explain few things and then you will quickly get back, guys. Okay? Can you just close your screen, Devendra? Devendra, any doubts here now?
No.
Okay. Okay. First, let me take you through little theory because now you have done that, so you will be able to then. What is regression? You know that there are 2 variables, independent variable and dependent variable. Clear? Let's go to the next. Okay. So regression is, it has what? 2 variables, especially X and Y, and it predicts. Okay. Whereas correlation, it is an associative technique and it covariates. And it is represented by what? Correlation R and coefficient is R square. This is clear, right? Now, so the regression line is also known as the line of best fit. Okay. It is also known as the line of best fit. And why do you say best fit? It minimizes the distance between all the points and it then draws a trend line. So higher the R square, that means your data points are closer to the line, trend line. And if your regression percentage is low, that means your dependent variable is less dependent on your independent variable. Then you have to look at other things. For example, I'll just show you. Say, just for example, there is CEO pay, okay, and there is revenue. All right. Now, say for example, the CEO pay is what? Is it can I take it as an independent variable or dependent variable? Here I'm taking the CEO pay as the Y and the revenue as X. Okay? Wanting to check if the revenue is high, will the CEO pay go up? Got it? I'm just wanting to give you example. So
Yeah.
in such a case with the data, say for example, my correlation coefficient is 0.9 R
Hmm.
and my R square is 0.81. That means 81%. That means the CO pay is dependent on the revenue 81%. Is it striking some kind of an understanding, guys? Have you understood? Say, for example, it is 81% the regression. That means it is dependent on the revenue 81%. The rest 19%, there are other variables. Okay. So the other variables are like, for example, it could be performance, it could be various other things. So this we talked about how strong and if it is, anything for an R square, if it is anything less than 0.5, that means it's not very strong. Okay. This is how you did it. Input range, confidence level, output. Did you do this? You went through
Yes.
this process, no? Huh?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Confidence level, I said you must always set it as 95% because why? We are not taking the entire population data. So therefore, it is typically at a 95% to get the true mean. Now, for us, only R square is important. The other things are not very important in the regression data which we got, the report. Yeah. Now, somebody asked me, before you get into the other data, what is slope and what is intercept? No? Who asked me this question? Now, slope and intercept are two statistical terms, or the value of slope and intercept is calculated through this Excel formulas. But to show you what exactly it means manually, say for example, this is one line. Okay. Now, this is, for example, I'm just showing compensation data. This is market data. All right. And this is those job evaluation points data. For example, one second. So if I actually do a show something. Yeah, I know. Say this is 100 and this is 200. 300. Okay. And this is your what? X. And this is your Y. This is your independent variable. And this is your dependent variable. Am I right? Have you understood till here? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Have
ma'am.
you, pardon?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now you did the data and you got something like this. Did you get it? Yeah. So what is this? This line is your trend line, which is called best fit line, fitting all your data points. This also you understood? Huh? This also you understood? Now, say for example, so this is called what is this? The slope. Is this line sloping? Huh? Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this slope is calculated through the Excel. So typically what we say is, what is the value of what? Y when X increased by 1 job point. Are you with me? So every time it moves from 101 to say 150, then what will happen? The slope can come here, no? Mhm. 1 second. Right? So the salary will be for a 200 points like this, no? Salary will be. Are you with me? Because this is what? There's a market data which is growing, no? Up. So the increase of Y value when your job evaluation point increases by 1 point. Are you with me now? Very clear? Huh? Now slope can also vary if your line is like this. And there's another line. And I will say this is the best fit line A, this is the best fit line B, and this is the best fit line C. Whose slope will be higher? Which best fit line slope will be higher?
A.
Hmm?
The line
C.
A is higher.
Because if I draw that line of C is almost like, see? Now if I draw this one, see how much it is. Huh? See, look at the slope of this one. No? Huh? A is the highest, then B, then C. Any still further, any kind of doubt here about slope? What is the value of Y when your job evaluation points are moving from 100 to 200 or 200 to 300? That is the slope because the line, this is the slope. This is the trend line which has a slope and which is calculated to the Excel. Clear? Now let me just tell you what is intercept. Let me just rub this part, only this part. Okay. Now, intercept is where this best fit line. Oh, I took the other line. Not the, sorry. Mhm. So, intercept is where this line is. I have to undo it. Oh, and go to here. This part, where this intersection, okay? This part. Can you see my cursor? Where the best fit line intercepts with the Y. I have to write a Y line. Okay? Y. I have to undo this first. Okay. So this one. So in essence, if I have to put, that means when X is equal to 0, what is the value of Y? Are you very clear now? When your X is 0, then what is the value of Y? That's called the intercept. Intercept means the best fit line intersecting with the Y. Hey guys, are you very clear? So don't get into, I mean, it calculates, the value is calculated by the by Excel. But for you to understand this concept, saying that slope is a gradient and intercept is the intersection where the best fit line intersects with the Y. Is that clear? Right? Okay. And this you are calculating through Excel. So therefore, I mean, it's easy because olden days they have to calculate. There is a statistical formula, which I don't want you all to go through that because it's unnecessary. You can use an Excel and get it. Now, if you go back, you will see that, yeah, can you all see me? You will see that there is one set of data. Now it is not your compensation data. Okay. Yesterday we did the operational analytics part. Now there is another set of data in that, which is about predictive analytics. I want you to do that going back into the same rooms. Okay. In the same groups. So, this group where is represented by Devendra. Yeah. Can I see your work? Because I've seen the other group's work. Can you just share your screen and show me your work?
Sure, sure. Allow me a moment.
So this is
Right.
the first
So we
one. So
right,
what
right.
would
So
you
this is the
say?
first one.
True or false? Is talent retention dependent on working conditions? True or false? Other group members can also
Yeah.
respond. Yeah. Is it true or false?
False.
Yeah. So next one, can you show me the next? So what is the statement? Is it true or false?
False.
Again, false, because the regression square R square is 0.25. Okay. Show me the other one. Goal alignment. Okay. Behavioral training. True or false?
True.
True. R square is 0.85, so it's true. Goal alignment. You don't even go to regression because correlation itself is 0.3. So when correlation is so low, you don't do regression at all, right? How
Right.
can you predict when your correlation, that is, there is no association at all? Okay. Hey guys, all of you on the same, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Devendra. Good work. And I hope you will share it with the other participants of your group. Okay. So very low correlation, Devendra. So
Right, right.
therefore, when there is low correlation, you cannot do regression because the logic is that when there is no relationship at all, no association, then you cannot go and do prediction, right? Okay. All
Yes,
right.
understood.
Okay. So you can do regression in L&D, you can do regression in T&D, you can do regression and correlation in what is it? Recruitment. So you can predict the data outcomes by doing correlation and regression in all these functions. Okay. Now, to generally give a summary and to wrap up. So what we did in a session one is we generally looked at data because every data has a story to tell. Then we said, hey, how does it get distributed? How can I benchmark? What is the min, median, mode, typical statistics? So that how does it look, So because raw data, you really cannot read it. How is it distributed? Does it have a normal distribution? Is it skewed, right? Skewed. Huh? So all these things. Thereafter, then you looked at what? You looked at, yes, but how am I going to support the strategy? What is critical? Yeah, somebody's. So what is critical to me? So that's how you have to understand what are the business strategic drivers and what are those one or two things I should do, the low hanging fruit, so that I can show impact to the business outcome. So it's very, very critical to align what you do with the business outcomes. So therefore, you have to identify the lead and the lag indicators of whatever you are doing in whichever role you are for that HR function. And once you do that, then identify the metrics. then start capturing the data. So one is typically you will do the operational descriptive reporting of showing data as it is through visual representation. But then how can you show some kind of a impact by doing predictive analytics through correlation and regression? And I would recommend everybody to go back, look at what is your role, kind of a data you keep getting, okay, and how can I actually then study this data and ensure that there is some kind of a business impact. So understand what are one or two business issues or concerns or challenges, so that then you can support what you're doing through the HR function, whatever you are doing. And that's how you can actually show, the impact of what you're doing with the business. And I would strongly recommend all of you to go back and do. And if you have issues, concerns, even looking at what data to track, how do I capture, what is it, you can all feel free to either consult Wilma or me, and we are always there to support you. Okay, guys. So this is what we had, and this sums up the entire HR analytics.